Hello, hello. Good evening. So, for today, I decide to analyze some games between two great players, Robert James Fischer and Paul Keres. Is it everything okay with voice, with video as well? Please confirm me this. Доброго вечора, слава Україні! Подивимося, як грали Фішер з Кересом сьогодні. Цікаво. Is it interesting topic? So, this first time that I am commented game of Robert Fischer in my channel. Before I didn't. I hope I will continue this topic. Okay, so Keres wasn't unlucky. He was very successful player. He was a great player. I like his style very much. Okay, never became world champion, but okay. This title is not everything in our life. So, first game between Fischer and Keres. Fischer white, Keres black. Spanish, classical Spanish. Rook e1. And that time Rook e1 was played almost automatically. Now d3 is not less popular than Rook a1. But at that time Rook e1, b5, bishop b3, castle played Keres. So if black plays castle, it means that white can consider possibility of martial counter attack after c3, d5, e takes d5, knight takes d5, knight takes e5, knight takes, rook takes c6. But okay, it was popular in that time, it's still popular now. But Fischer played c3, so Fischer not afraid this counter attack. And very interesting that Keres never played with black martial counter attack. He always played closed Spanish. I don't know why, but that's true. So also here he played d6, h3. Another interesting system here is to play d4 after bishop g4, bishop e3. But it's totally different type of position. For example, black can play this, bishop c2, knight c4, bishop c1, c5, b3, knight b6, knight bd2. Well, Korchnoi against, I analyzed game Fischer Korchnoi, I think. Korchnoi played knight a5, but after knight a5, Fischer played d5 successfully against Korchnoi. It was game Fischer Korchnoi. Knight b6 is better according to theory. Yes, especially with knight on a5, d5 is very logical. Now d5 is less logical. So usually white is playing knight bd2 with idea if c takes d4, h3. Bishop h5, g4, and knight takes d4. So knight fd7, okay, many games was played. Okay, but h3 classical line, and now black has big choice. Now the most popular system here is knight b8, Breyer system, or bishop b7, Zaitsev system, or knight d7, d4, bishop f6, also it's popular system. But okay, knight a5, classical Chigorin system, bishop c2, c5, d4, queen c7. Also interesting here, knight d7, Keres system. So it was Keres who started to play knight d7 here, but in this game he preferred classical Chigorin line, queen c7, but after knight bd2 he took on d4 and played bishop b7. Also, according to theory, main line here is knight c6. And now white has choice. If a d5 knight b4 is coming, bishop b1 a5, and black is okay here. Then knight a6, knight c5 is plan for black. Knight b3, a5, bishop e3, a4, knight bd2, yes. And bishop d7, many games was played from this position. Another possibility for white after knight c6 is just a3 to prepare d5. And if black is taking on d4, white can play knight b3 and then take on d4 backs. Also, bishop d7 is possible, but after bishop d7, knight f1, rook a c8, and now after knight a3, knight c6 is possible with idea if white will just play primitively. A3 is not a good move because black can take and take, and now d5 is pretty strong, and white is in trouble because bishop c5 is coming. For example, after e takes d5, bishop c5, white is losing the piece. So according to theory, even knight e3 is not the best. Knight e3 is possible. It's possible to play bishop b3 now, because obviously black cannot take on e4 after knight e4, knight d5, white just winning the piece. But okay, after bishop b3, black can go back, and bishop c2, knight c6. If knight d5, black can take, bishop takes d5, bishop c6, and here it's not so easy for white to demonstrate advantage. Although position is totally playable, of course, b3 is possible to play against black knight. Takes and d5, takes and d5, I think it's less logical because knight b4 is coming. Black has quite strong contraplay, so knight c2 is threat. After rook e2, black can play just a5 and then knight a6, knight c5 standard plan. But okay, b3 is possible. But anyway, according to theory, instead of knight e3, more precise rook e2. I understand that you mean white rook. Rook e2 is more precise. Now white has more pleasant position because they can utilize e3 square for his bishop and g3 square for his knight. For example, knight c6, bishop e3 without d5, rook fe8, knight g3, and white has more pleasant position here. Maybe it's not so simple, but for example, necessary to check something like this. Knight takes b5 doesn't work because after a takes b5, knight b4 is coming. Okay, but so bishop e3 is logical, rook f e8. What about immediately takes d5? We can check. We are on analysis. Viktor Lvovich explained it me. But now there is difference in this variation. I can take after this queen takes d5, and now after knight b4 I have idea bishop takes h7. After king takes h7, queen e4 check, and then queen takes e7. So rook f e8, black is preparing this idea, defending bishop. So if knight g3, take, and d5. And now bishop e7 is protected, so after e takes d5, knight takes d5, white cannot take on b5. So maybe here instead of knight g3, more precise to play rook c1. Activate rook and defend his bishop. Maybe knight g3 is not the best. Okay, let's come back to the game. If there are any questions, okay, I am free to answer. Please feel you're free. Queen d2, a5, where queen d2? Queen d2, previous, after rook c1, after rook c1. Okay, so bishop d7, knight f1, rook c8, rook e2, knight c6, bishop e3, this rook c1. What you want to play now after rook c1? Слава Україні, героям слава. Maybe queen b7 is possible. After queen b7, bishop b1 probably. Or knight g3. No. Looks like more pleasant position for white. Queen d2. Okay, queen d2 now a4. Queen d2 now. Okay, maybe queen d2 is possible, but after queen d2, black. Okay, maybe queen d2 here is possible as well. But rook c1 looks like more natural, but maybe you are right. Not okay, black can take probably and play knight e5 here. Knight c4 is threat. If b3, b3. If d5, white has idea f4. And then e5 is coming. 22, maybe also possible. If I just take and play d5, what is this? Is it everything okay with chat? With my stream? d5 and again not so easy to understand what is this. For example, bishop f4 is possible, but queen b6. If knight takes c6, bishop takes c6, e5, knight e4, and black has contraplay. No problem, everything's okay. Okay, but I would prefer to play. Also I had interesting idea I want to demonstrate you. Instead of bishop e4 to take on c6, and after bishop takes c6 to play e5. And now if black is taking, I have bishop f4. And this is terrible for black, because after queen takes b2, bishop takes h7, winning easily. And if queen h5, knight g3, white is winning. Queen h4, knight f5. But the problem is that after e5, black has knight e4. This position looks quite good for black. So queen takes e5. It's terrible mistake. So this is just a trap. But okay, after rook c1, I don't see clear way how black can equalize the position, because for example now d5 hardly good, white can take, and after knight takes d5, knight takes b5 is coming, and after a takes b5, queen takes d5, knight b4 is not so strong because bishop is protected, and knight takes e3, white has idea queen d3. This is, looks like really bad for black. For example, after bishop f5, even knight takes c7, bishop d3, bishop d3, white wins material. Okay, but let's come back to the game. So Keres played bishop b7. He provoked his opponent to play d5, and typical contraplay after d5 is rook ac8, for example, bishop d3 or bishop b1, and knight d7 to prepare f5, and then try to attack d5 pawn. Very complicated game, but Fischer didn't play this. Fischer played knight f1, rook ac8. No, I never met Fischer. Bishop d3 played Fischer. Bishop b1 was possible as well, but bishop d3 it's more natural somehow, because how after bishop b1, okay, depends what black will do. So sometimes b3, bishop b2 is possible. Okay, not always, but it's possible. For example, if black takes g6, white can consider idea to play b3. So bishop b2 is prepared. If queen c3, white has queen d2. If queen takes a1, bishop b2. So it's one of possible ideas in this position. But okay, so Fischer played bishop d3. Now black also can consider a possibility to take and g6. But now white has idea bishop h6 and rook c1 with temping. So another standard idea here is to play d5, because if white taking e takes d5, black has e4. And after bishop takes e4, rook takes, bishop takes d5, black has excellent compensation for the pawn. And for sure Keres considered this idea during the game, but I think d takes e5 is more interesting to play for white. Now d takes e4 is obviously impossible, because after e takes f6, white is winning the piece. So knight takes e4 is forcing, and now knight e3. And this is, position is quite complicated. White want to take on d5 with knight and take on e4. If rook fd8, probably queen e2 is coming. If bishop c5, maybe bishop c5 is possible to prevent knight takes d5. So quite complicated position. If rook e2, black can try rook fd8 again. So after e takes d4, not hurry to take back. Okay, I agree. So knight g3 is totally possible. Yes, why not? It's possible. But okay, anyway, d5 looks like the most promising move for black because e takes d5, e4 is okay. Fide chess coach, nice to meet you from South Africa. Good, good. So d takes e5, knight takes e4. So this position looks like interesting. After knight e3, bishop c5. Now I'm not sure that white is better because black pieces are quite active. So position is pretty complicated. White can consider b3, for example, now. With the idea to play against knight a5 and to prepare bishop b2, something like this. But okay, Keres didn't play this. Maybe d5 was strongest, but Keres played knight c6. And Fischer played knight e3. Logical, because now black, if d5, knight b4 is unpleasant, and if bishop b1, knight c2 is coming, so knight e3 is very logical. If black takes, white is ready to play knight f5. And after g6, for example, white has another standard idea to play d5. And bishop b1, of course. a5. So looks like black bishop is passive, but if image that for example, if image that black has bishop on d7, white has idea a3 and b4 very often. And after this bishop d2, knight is trapped. But with passive bishop on b7, black has knight a6. But okay, bishop on b7 is much worse from positional reasons, and white can try to utilize it somehow. Only question how, so it's not so easy. Oh, for example, white can try bishop d2, knight a6, knight h2, knight c5, queen f3, something like this. If, for example, b4, bishop c2, bishop a6, rook ac1, something like this, it's possible. Queen d8 also, with idea if knight g4, black has bishop g5. This is point of queen d8. So g6 was possible. Okay, maybe white has something else than d5, but I don't see. D takes e5 is hardly strong for white. Thanks for your subscription. So g6, d5, knight b5. Unfortunately, white cannot play. Oh, okay, white can play bishop f1 as well because knight takes e4, losing the piece. If knight c2, this is point that knight is hanging on e4. But after bishop f1, black can play knight c2. Probably it's only a5 may be also possible, because if white will take on b5, black will take on e4. Maybe a5 is a reasonable question in this position. Because knight c2, okay, if after bishop f1, knight c2, white can just take, and this endgame looks like more pleasant for white because of a terrible black bishop on b7. So a5 is more principal. Now white pawn e4 is under attack, and how to defend this successfully not so clear. Oh, of course white can play a3, knight bishop takes b5, knight takes e4. I'm not so clear that this exchange is so good for white. Maybe it's good, but it's double-edged position in my opinion. But my idea is more simple: a3, knight a6, and just play knight g4. So now my pawn e4 is firmly protected, and I am ready to. Pawn b5 is attacked. Okay, nice. And also black has a big problem with his bishop on b7, so a5 is not so strong. So bishop f1 is a good option now. If knight c2, my idea just play bishop d3 and then bishop d2, a4 is my plan. So I think white should be, or even a4 immediately. So white is better because white is much stronger in queen's flank, and black has a big problem with bishop. I mean bishop b7. So d5 was strong after g6 because knight from e3 protected c2 square. Keres played rook f e8. Knight f5 play Fischer, but now again d5 was quite good in my opinion. Why not? Knight b4 only logical move because if black doesn't play knight b4, white has all trumps. So knight b4 and again bishop f1. This is point of my plan. Also, I have idea what could afraid Fischer. So maybe knight takes e4 is possible, and after a3, knight takes f2. King takes f2, knight c2. Maybe here situation is not so clear. This is fork, so white is forced to take, and after queen takes c2 check. Black has already two pawns against piece, and d5 pawn can be under attack. Of course, black could play same idea after g6. We can consider this. Uh, Bishop f1, so knight takes e4, a3, knight knight takes f2 now. If there is some difference between g6 and rook e8, so anyway white should take. Queen takes c2 check. And now if white simply taken, black taken with check, and then bishop d5 is coming. Black will have three pawns. I think this position is enough, but probably for white is better to play king g3 somehow. Not give pawn d5 immediately and to prepare bishop h6. So here I'm not so sure that black is fine. Also, position is double-edged. For example, black can take and play rook c5, try to take on d5. Black will take d5, but maybe white is better here somewhere after a4, for example. Because I think piece is stronger here. Bishop h6, rook f8. So a4 is logical immediately. Try to do something. Okay, but if with rook on e8, what is difference? So Fischer could play d5, bishop f1. Okay, bishop b1 is possible, but after bishop b1, a5, the situation is not so clear. Black has planned knight a6, knight c5, and white has no idea immediately to play a3 before, as I explained it. But okay, logical is to play this and knight f5. This is promising position for white because after knight c5, bishop g5 is possible. So bishop b1 is possible as well. But after bishop f1, okay, so this, and now king g3 is the most promising move for white, in my opinion. But who knows what is this? White king is quite safe because black has no many pieces to attack. For example, queen g6 is possible, king h2 now. If e4, knight d4, white is ready to give a third pawn, but knight on d4 is in very strong position. So bishop e3, queen d2, or bishop f4, queen d, for example, here. Okay, maybe knight takes b5 is possible as well, just to take the pawn. Okay, so d5 was strong alternative, but Keres played knight f5, bishop f8, logical. If e takes d4, not necessary to take back immediately. White can play bishop g5, and then rook c1 is coming. It's excellent initiative. Or same after knight takes d4, white can take with this knight and play bishop g5. And again, rook c1 is coming. It's pretty unpleasant for black. But now after bishop f8, white has problems that if d5, knight b4 is coming, and then knight c2. So bishop g5 with stamping, knight d7, rook c1, queen b8. And so white is clearly better without any doubts. So but how to play? d5 is possible, knight b4, bishop b1. It's very natural choice. Black should play a5, but white has promising ideas, knight h2, queen g4, for example. Okay, maybe after knight b4 immediately I will take. If rook, maybe better to take with bishop, although I don't know. But if bishop takes, I can also play bishop f1. Maybe bishop is better on f1, because I am not sure that black can take on a2. Immediately for sure I cannot, because rook takes c8 and queen b3 is coming and knight is trapped. After rook takes c1, maybe they can take, but also it's far from clear, because queen takes, and if knight takes a2, queen d2, and it looks like black knight cannot survive anymore, because rook a1 is coming. If b4, bishop c4 is coming. So pawn a2 is poisoned. So d5 was a very good alternative for white, and after knight b4, it's possible to consider bishop b1 or bishop f1 or rook takes c8. All of these moves are good, but Fischer played bishop b1, so different type of position he likes. He is not hurried to block d5, and Keres took on d4. Probably he could take with pawn. I don't know why he decided to take with. Sorry, even queen a4, rook c1. When queen a4? After d5, bishop b4. Now, okay, if not so important. Okay, so after bishop f1, white is clearly better. So I don't see good ideas for black. Okay, if not knight b4, okay. Maybe knight e7 black can try. At least after knight e7 they have no problem with his knight. Can you hear me well? Okay, so knight e7 is possible. White is clearly better, but black can try to defend this position. So bishop b1 play Fischer. Keres could take with pawn, of course, but he took with knight. So he wants to take on c1, because now if rook takes c8, black has intermediate check from f3. So rook takes c8 is wrong. White is losing the pawn. So knight d4, and now Keres took on c1. So this was reason. If image e takes d4, white can take with this knight, and now after knight takes d4, white can take on c8 probably. This Keres doesn't want, and then take with queen. After queen takes c8, take with queen, and white has quite promising position. Black can try knight c5, however, and now white cannot just protect this pawn, because queen takes f5 is coming, rook takes e1 check, and rook takes b1. Sound is very good. Nice to hear this. So, okay, but f3, it's terrible mistake. Knight takes d6 is possible, but after this knight takes e4, this is drawish, because white only have. Oh, not drawish. Just a moment. Queen b6, I'm thinking, is it possible? No. Okay, bishop takes e4 is draw. But I'm thinking now about queen b6. And if rook e6, white has queen d8. This is pretty important, and this endgame is better for white. So if knight takes g5, this, and what is this? Looks like totally okay for black, however, because queen e1 check, after king h2, simply g6. Queen c8, king g7, queen c3, looks like draw. Okay, so how to play after knight c5? So knight takes d6, not advantage. Not so easy. Yes, knight e6 is a threat. Maybe bishop d2 somehow. Rook c1 was proposition. Rook c1, I'm not. Rook c1 also possible because queen d7, rook takes c5 is possible. But yes, rook c1. But after rook c1, maybe queen a8 is possible. Attack again e4 pawn, and black has threat knight e6 as well. If f3, for example. So, but I like bishop d2. My idea to avoid knight e6 and to avoid queen takes f5, of course. So probably here white is better because structure is better for white, and white has planned bishop c3 somewhere. Yes, I think white is better here. No, bishop d2 is good. So Keres took on d4, knight takes d4, rook takes c1, bishop takes c1, e takes d4. Of course, now queen takes d4 is possible, but black has some contraplay, even d5 necessary to consider. Question, however, how strong is d5? It's not obvious. White cannot take immediately, but maybe white has something like bishop d2, for example. Bishop c5 not possible because g7 is attacked. D takes e4 is hardly possible because queen takes d7, rook takes d8, knight h6 is coming. G takes h6, queen g4. And white is winning here. No, winning, yes, winning, because bishop g7, bishop c3. Sorry, I don't understand question. If I gain advantage, if I resign. So, what do you mean? If I resign, which if I resign? Okay, usually losses is quite painful for me. Mm, maybe I have no correct attitude to losses, but it's painful for me. So okay, so queen takes d4 was possible, and if d5, bishop d2 looks reasonable. Important that tactic d takes e4, rook d8 doesn't work. Probably it wasn't only reason. Knight h6 also, maybe bishop f4 is winning. But it was proposition bishop b4 to play somewhere, but where bishop b4? Yes, yes, bishop d2, and now it looks like white is better. I don't see something good for black in this position. Bishop b4 is like idea in future. Okay, but I have more simple idea to take on d5 because my rook is already protected. Rook e3, about rook e3 I am not sure because maybe it's possible, but I am not sure. We can try to check this after rook d8. Now black has rook d1, but knight h6 check after g takes h6, and now rook g3 check. Queen takes g3, only move. Queen takes d8. What is this? Or queen g4, maybe more precise. Attack uh, to take d1 square under control, and this is, looks like winning for white, because if king h8, rook g3 is simply coming. So uh, if bishop g7, again rook g3, and black has no defense, because after queen e5, simply bishop takes h6 is winning. So rook e3 may be possible as well, but but maybe after rook e3 I can consider g6 now. Now you can take also. But not sure, because I can take. If rook g3, I will take here, and rook e1 check, and rook takes c1. Black has a lot of pieces. What is this? For example, this. If bishop f5, bishop c5 is coming with bishop g1 ideas. So probably black is totally okay now, but I am not sure. So we can check king f8, h4. White has now. Okay, probably black is good here, but how to play? Because if knight e5, I have queen f4, queen g5, so it's not so clear. Maybe it's better for white even, because black has bad coordination of pieces. But okay, it's really complicated. But I don't see clearly what black should play here. So knight is attacked. If knight moves, white will play something like queen f4, queen g5. With knight e5, okay, so queen where f4 or g5, where is better? Okay, for example, queen g5. Now your rook is attacked, and but now black has idea. Maybe queen f4 is more precise, because now black has this idea: bishop e3, and I cannot take bishop. Bishop c5, where bishop c5? So bishop c5, black played. Queen g4 check. So after this, I need to play this. Instead of rook c1. Yes, bishop c5. Sorry. Yes, of course, bishop c5. Mistake. Sorry. Bishop c5 is much more easy and strong. Okay, but so after rook e3, g6 is possible, and e takes d5. Okay, e takes d5 may be possible with another idea, just to take on f5. White has some attack, maybe not so bad attack, but bishop g7, bishop takes d7, strong. Okay, black can take probably first. If bishop takes e3, now bishop g7, and knight f8 is coming. Okay, but so rook e3, g6. Rook g3 now may be also possible, but after rook g3, black can try to play queen e5. So I'm still prefer bishop d2 in this position. Now, if queen e5, I can consider even queen a7, probably, but more simple, just take. If rook takes bishop c3 is unpleasant, or even f4 and e5. If knight takes, e takes d5, and black cannot take pawn back, because after f4, they are losing the piece. So what to play after bishop d2? It's big question. Maybe white is just better here. If knight f6, knight h6 is unpleasant. Okay, maybe black can try this, because if knight h6 takes bishop g7, situations not totally clear, although looks like more promising for white after queen f5, for example. Well, but so queen takes d4, d5, bishop d2 was possible, but Fischer played something different. He played knight h6 check and queen g4 check also. Tricky, tricky Bobby. And important that black cannot play bishop g7, because bishop takes h6 wins immediately. So king h8 is only move, queen takes d7. Now black has pawn up, but pawn structure is destroyed. Bishop d5 looks like only a reasonable move, because d5, bishop f4 is coming somehow. Okay, maybe black can try d5 as well. If bishop f4, queen c8, white is forced to exchange queens, and okay, probably not bishop f4, maybe white has something else. Maybe just e5. Yes, maybe e5. Just strong. Okay, we can check. So rook takes e5, rook takes e5, queen takes e5. Now white has two tempting possibilities. Take the bishop or take the pawn on f7. So if queen takes f7, what black should play? At the moment black has pawn up, but they have a permanent problem. Bishop d6 not mate on h7. So black should play queen e7 or queen e1 check. But okay, if queen e1 check, king h2. If bishop d6, just g3. Pawn f2 is protected by queen, so white has mating threat. So queen e7 is only move, and now white can take on e7 and take on h6 with clearly better endgame, or just continue attack with queen f5, which is maybe even stronger, because black has terrible king. So e5 is also white has idea queen f5 and queen takes f7. So e5 looks like really strong move. Okay, black can play immediately queen e7 or queen g7, but white can go back queen f5, and the situation is bad for black. So bishop d5 is much more logical move, because Keres preparing bishop e6. So at the moment white is pawn down, but of course excellent compensation. Queen f5 played Fischer. If bishop e6, he wants to play queen h5 and then take on h6 somehow. So rook e5 played Keres. Maybe was totally possible to play queen g4 with same idea, because hard to believe that black has something better than bishop e6. And now after bishop e6, white can play queen h5 or queen h4. Okay, queen h4, queen d8. So queen h5 is more logical, and then take on h6, and looks like bad news for black. So maybe queen g4 was even more precise in this position than queen f5 was played Fischer. What else? If not bishop e6, bishop g7 is possible, but after bishop g7, white can just play queen h4. If rook e6, bishop d2, black bishop will not go to e6 anymore. Queen d8 not possible because bishop is hanging. If other move, white can just take on h6. So queen g4 probably was even stronger than queen f5, but Fischer played queen f5, rook e5. Is it everything okay with my stream? Do you like this? Do you like voice and video? Okay, so rook e5 played Paul Petrovich Keres, queen f3. So queen g4 was strong. Rook e6 directly. Rook e6 is possible, but so you want to play rook g6. Yes, rook e6, interesting. But what about queen d1? Yes, queen d1. And I will just take the pawn because queen h5, rook e5. Of course, queen h5 is also possible if rook e5, queen h4. So queen g4 was strong, but Fischer played queen f5, rook e5 played. If I know Grandmaster Landa, why are you asking about Grandmaster Landa? Okay, I have seen Grandmaster Konstantin Landa many times, but I never played against him, so hardly I can share some stories about Konstantin Landa. Ah, Konstantin died? Really? What happened? It's really sad news. My sympathies. Sorry to hear it. Okay. We will do 1 minute of silence, sorry. Okay, let's come back. So after rook e5, Fischer played queen f3. He wants to play bishop f4. f5 played Keres. Probably only a reasonable move in this position. Bishop f4 played Fischer. Rook e8. And he played queen h5. Of course, white has some other tempting possibilities. For example, queen d1 is possible to play. Protect rook and attack d4 pawn. So bishop takes e4 looks like forced. Of course, black cannot take with pawn because queen takes d4 check and queen takes d5. So bishop takes e4, bishop takes e4. Rook takes e4. No, oh, pawn takes e4 more likely, because if rook takes e4, white can just take and take here, and queen takes e4, and this position is very bad for black. Material is equal, but black has weak pawns and very weak king. For example, after bishop b2, bishop h6, I think white has excellent winning chances. Or even queen c6 is possible here. So take with pawn, probably more precise. Queen takes d4, bishop g7, but even now, after queen d5, I think white is better. Bishop takes b2, even bishop takes d6 is possible, or bishop takes h6, for example. Surely white is better because black has too many weaknesses, but Fischer played queen h5. Another possible move. What else he could play? Also bishop d2, such a simple move was possible, I think. Protect the rook. That is bishop takes e4. After all exchange, black has many black is pawn up, but so many weaknesses. Excellent winning chances for Bobby, because bishop g7, for example, queen c6 is coming, so white will take some pawns. Black has no contraplay because king is so weak. Okay, so queen h5 was not necessary, but Fischer played this. Now black cannot take with pawn because bishop is hanging, so Keres took with bishop f3. This was idea, but bishop c6. More or less forced. But now white has choice. So totally possible simply take on e8. But now black can take with bishop, and f5 pawn is poisoned because bishop g6 is coming. Tricky Keres. So rook c1. Bishop d7. And Bobby took on h6. Not obvious decision for me. If imagine that I am white, I would took on f5. Okay, I would think, of course, but if what I mean, if imagine that I am playing blitz and I have no time to think, I would take on f5. So this is intuitive move. Okay, of course, if I have time, mm, I can think, I can consider another moves. Also, Queen F7, probably it's possible to consider. But okay, so after Bishop F5, what is problem for White? So Black should take on F5. Hardly there is alternative here. Queen d8 is possible, but doesn't look promising. White can take on d7 and even take on h6. So takes on f5, queen takes f5. Looks like white has total domination. So rook c6 is coming. So very bad position for black. Oh, queen d7 is coming at some moment. So bishop takes f5 surely was strong. But Fischer rook play trick. F5 doesn't work because rook e1 check. Quite primitive. 8. So collect right now. Now it's okay. So I'm looking at position. So Keres played rook e6. White obviously cannot take on f5. But okay, also if you are looking game, it's important to follow what is number of moves. So is it move 33 for white? Totally possible that it could be sometime trouble here. Not necessary, but possible. Okay, young Fischer usually played quite quickly. Sorry, reconnecting to chat. What about now? Can you hear me? Good. So bishop takes f8 not obvious. Bishop d2 looks like interesting alternative. Because now I want to take on f5 with bishop. What was time control? Probably 2 hours for 40 moves. No. 2.5 hours for 40 moves, and then game was adjournment, something like this. So after bishop d2, what black should do? Because queen e8 important, not possible. After queen takes f5, black has no idea rook e1, because after rook takes e1, queen is attacked. So queen e8 doesn't work. So black should do something, but what? Rook f6 or what? Or rook e5 against bishop takes f5. But if rook e5, bishop f4 is very promising. Yes. Bishop d2. Okay, it was strong in many positions. Now, if rook e5, bishop f4 is very strong, and black is losing f5 pawn. So, because if rook d5, queen f7 easily win. So, rook f6, well, but simply queen h4 is possible, and then white will take d4 pawn, and okay, crazy, but always white has much better pawn structure. Queen e8, and after queen takes f5, rook g6, there is proposition. But okay, what is the point? Okay, so queen e4 simply I can play and enjoy this great endgame. It's the simplest, probably. It's not only idea. Queen f4 was also possible, however. Nothing wrong with queen f4 as well. Take on h3, bishop g6 is coming. Why we retreat from h6? Okay, bishop is hanging. Okay, so bishop d2 was strong. Fischer took on f8. Queen takes f8. And now he played queen h4. Rook c7 here may be possible, but after rook c7, necessary to consider check somehow. If, for example, king f2, queen e7, and black has some threats. For example, if rook takes d7, rook e2 check. If king f1, this and this is draw. Because if king g3, black will take rook. Bishop f5 here. Bishop f5, I'm not sure, because queen e2 and queen e5 check. And king g4, however, but maybe it's possible, but queen g7 check, so it's tricky somehow. How long is stream? I don't know. When I'm starting stream, I don't know how long I will do it. So rook c7, it's okay. Practical decision, in my opinion, was bishop d2. Bishop d2 was everything under control. In 25 minutes, I think I will not finish this in 25 minutes. So I think I will take one more game today. So okay, so Fischer played queen h4. So rook c7, 3 risky. Queen takes f5 is not possible because rook e1. Bishop f5 is not possible because rook h6. This is quite easy. So white cannot take pawn. It was Zurich interzonal, probably something like this. Zurich, 1959. So Fischer played queen h4. He is attacking the king f2. King f2 here is proposition. Also interesting. Why not? No, king f2 is interesting. Yes, because queen on h5 in active position. If rook h6, queen g5, rook g6, queen f4, for example. Yes, looks like very reasonable. Yes, queen f2. But also rook c7 immediately we considered rook e1 check, but now probably king h2 is with idea if queen d8, bishop f5 is winning. I have mate in threat, and after this, queen takes c7, queen f8 mate. So king h2. So how black can defend? Queen e7 is possible with idea queen e5, but after yes, queen e7 is strong. And now bishop is hanging, so and queen e5 is threat. Yes, so queen e7 is strong. But it's not finished. I have queen h6, however. And if black is taking bishop, I have rook takes d7 and queen f8 mate. So rook takes d7 now. It's a terrible threat for black, for white. It's nice. Yeah, so rook c7 probably was the strongest move in this position. Let me check other options. So rook e1 looks like only logical move. Maybe immediately queen e7, however, it's more precise. Maybe immediately queen e7. With idea rook e1 check, but white can play king h2 anyway, and the situation is still difficult for black, but now they at least can try rook g6. Rook g6 maybe, and then rook g6. Yes, rook g6 is. Tal won. Fischer and Keres. But rook g6 is a good idea. If rook takes d7, queen e5 is coming. That's problem. If rook takes d7, I will not take the rook. I will play queen e5 check. And this is a big problem for white. Okay, maybe white is... white maybe even losing now. Because king cannot go. This is just a mate. F4, yes, F4 is possible, but after F4 anyway, black has idea to play queen E3 or queen E1. Queen E3 looks like. But queen E3, queen H4. However, what is this? Queen D2 somehow. White has problem with G2 pawn. So queen D8, rook G8, queen F6, rook G7. This is just a draw. So rook c7 is risky somehow, at least from practical reason of pawn. But king f2 is very smart move. This move is good also for endgame somewhere. Okay, but Fischer played queen h4, so it was choice of Bobby. Now he wants to take on f5 and continue attack. Rook c2 was idea. Just a moment. Queen e7. Idea was to avoid draw in this position. Where it was. Where check. So it was rook c7 line, queen e7, and this rook g6, f4, queen a3, queen d2. So after this. No, rook c2, queen takes f4 check. Hello, is it everything okay? Rook c2 is not possible because queen takes f4. But maybe now rook c2 is possible. Okay, looks strange. Queen e3 even. Okay, so queen h4 played. Maybe queen f2 was more precise. Queen f6 played Keres because not easy. Pawn d4 is attacked, so queen g7 dangerous. Queen g7, bishop takes f5. If rook e2, even bishop g4 is possible. So bishop g2, bishop g4. Or queen d8 is possible. Queen d8, because black cannot defend with rook. If bishop e8 only move. If g4 d3, it's coming, but my idea is something like this. Then queen d4 or d2. Black suddenly has some contraplay. Okay, so queen g7, but my first intention was just play bishop g4. But anyway, d3 is coming. So black has strong pawn. If queen d8, bishop e8, same position. So queen g7. Okay. Maybe queen g7 was practically better chance than queen f8 because endgame is quite bad for black. Afternoon, it's evening for me. Bishop f5, rook e2. And position is not clear. If bishop g4 d3, so I am thinking what white should do now. Okay, probably some positional move like bishop d3 can be considered. Oh, bishop d3 I like. To defend against rook e2. Okay, at the moment I need 10 minutes break. Hello, I'm here again, so I am following chat. Can you hear me? Okay, so thanks that many things this week was written by chat, so I need to check more messages below. This is round one, round 12. Zurich, yes, my favorite chess, Zurich 1. Story time. Go to passport control. Okay, okay, okay. With the tournament then. Yes. Oh, what to do? Thanks for writing me. Can you hear me well? So many messages. Thank you. Good job. Any game against Gary. So many wishes. Hello, hello. Audio is perfect. Okay, so I'm here. Okay, thanks for writing in chat. So probably after Queen G7, there is question. Okay, I will try. So bishop takes f5. My proposition is bishop d3, rook e2, queen d8, bishop e8, g4, d3. Queen takes d6 is your proposition, but probably you are right. So d2 and rook f1 you're planning to play or what? Probably rook f1 is the best to avoid, yes, rook f1. Maybe. Okay, but what white wants here? If black play something like bishop g6. My pawn on d2 is quite strong, and for white is not easy improve the position. Bishop e4 maybe, or what? Of course, this is promising position for white, but I don't see direct way to win here. Yes, white has even bishop e4 is possible, for example. Queen is queen e7. This problem with d2 pawn. Maybe even better check and and queen e3, something like this. Okay, so maybe bishop f5 is possible, but bishop d3 certainly is more practical. A tactical point is if rook e3, white can just ignore black's threat. So rook c7 is coming. After rook takes d3, queen d8 is coming. Queen g8, queen takes d7. I want to say and white wins, but suddenly I'm not totally sure that white is winning because, for example, after this, rook d2 is coming. And now rook c8 is only draw. This is perpetual check. Rook g1, rook g2. But maybe king f2 is winning. It looks like true because after rook d2 I have king this. Now there is no perpetual check because after this rook c8, this, white king has d3 square. So after king f2, looks like white is winning because rook c8 is threatened. Black has no possibilities to fight against them. Black can try something like this, but hard to believe that this is perpetual check. I think white will win this. So king d3 and king takes d4. No, I have feeling there is no perpetual check here. White king will go somewhere to a5. It will be enough for win. Yes. Queen g3 after rook d2. Queen g3 here. You mean after king e1, queen g3, queen f2. Yes, but anyway, where is perpetual check? So this, king c2. Where is perpetual? I don't see perpetual check here. d3, king c3. If d2, king c2. Think white should win. No, black has no cannot escape here. So after bishop d3, if rook e3 doesn't work, white has idea to play rook c7 and rook g6 is not possible because queen d8 and queen takes d7 simply. So this is losing move. After rook g2, white can play both king h1 or king f1. So black has no active moves and white has many threats, so white should win. До свидания. Promote the knight with check where? Okay, so after bishop d3, white is very strong, probably winning here. Or not. I hope yes. So Paul, queen e5 after bishop d3, queen e5 or what? Queen e5, just rook c7 is. I don't see anything good for black here. Because white's threats looks like much stronger. Okay, maybe black can try to exchange queens and play rook e3, something like this. But anyway, it looks like, oh, for example, bishop c4. Oh, for example, bishop b1, bishop e6, rook c6. Very bad endgame for black. Okay, maybe there is some chances, but bishop c4 somehow, but it's very difficult. Yes, not 100% clear, but very difficult for very difficult endgame because. Okay, so after queen e5, probably white can do something better. b3, bishop d3. No, yes, bishop d3. My idea was just play rook endgame, just take on a6. Black has so many weaknesses. I think white should win. Yes, but anyway, queen g7 probably was best practical chance. f4, in which moment f4? After rook d6. After rook d6, f4. No, but I didn't. Rook takes a6. Now f4. f4 I will just take on d6. White is very close to win because with the bishop, so rook c6, now f4, no, now, now, okay, maybe now f4 is possible. Now f4, okay, so he wants to play bishop c4. If I play b3, you can play d5. Okay. d5 probably. Yes, okay. So it's some chances, I agree. So queen g7 probably was best chance anyway for Keres. But objectively position still was for black. Keres played queen f6, but okay, it was move 34. Probably he was in time trouble. This. King f2. So very technical move. So white can play rook c7, white can play rook d1 and then take on d4, but Fischer not hurry. Fischer played king f2. Fischer just want to activate his king. King g7. Rook c7 he played. King e2. So he wants to take pawn d4 with king. This is his plan. f4 playing Keres. Now king d3 is impossible, but rook a7, king f6, rook takes a6. So what is this? Material is equal. King e5 looks like very natural move, but after king e5, rook a7. So white is ready to exchange rooks and then try to realize some ideas with a pawn. how easy it is, I'm not so sure that white is winning here at all. For example, king e5 we can try. Very natural move. If rook a7, just h6. But okay, bishop d3 and endgame is bad. Not program, just base is program. Okay, but what Keres played? Rook e7 check he played suddenly. What is this? King f2. Again, if king e5, rook a7 is unpleasant. So bishop e6 played Keres. Rook takes d6, king e5. So rook c6 played Fischer. Why rook c6? Very natural looks rook b6 to attack the pawn. So what was the reason for Fischer not to play this? If bishop c4, just b3. Okay, only reason that bishop c4 after b3, d3. At least. And now white has a problem with his bishop. And the black king is ready to go to d4. So this is a reasonable explanation. And suddenly things are not easy for white. Black has very strong contraplay. Yes, bishop d3 and rook b4 I'm considering as well, but king d5 is coming. And d2 is threat already. So it's big question who is better here. So rook c6 is idea to prevent this trick. So Fischer was very careful for contraplay of opponent. Yes, but okay, maybe rook b6 was good with another idea. Now white can play also this. Maybe this strong. After d3, king e1. But okay, king d4. If king d2, rook g7, so not so easy. So certainly this trick was prepared by Keres, bishop c4 and d3. And Fischer correctly understood. He played rook c6. Now bishop c3. Now bishop c4 doesn't work because after b3, d3, b takes c4. White is just taking the pawn c4. So bishop d5 played Keres. Rook h6. He is attacking h pawn. Rook c7. Black wants to activate his rook. Now after bishop c4, white can just take Bishop c4, b3, king d5 is idea. Bishop c4, b3, king d5. Good question. I hope that white has this idea. Sorry. Not so clear. My idea was bishop e4, rook takes e4, rook takes c4, but rook can go somewhere and then d3 is coming. So yeah, bishop e4, rook takes e4, pawn endgame, it's losing for white. I think. Oh, but not so obvious question. We can consider this. So this, and a4. Such a pawn endgame. What is this? So white has two pawns. But okay, for example, d3, king e1, c3, e5 somehow, king d5, a5, king d4, something like king d4, e6. Yes, calculation time. I agree. Yes, black is winning. d4 check and mate. So bishop c4 was possible. Okay, but after bishop c4, again, white has idea to play bishop e4 probably. Also white has another interesting motive, b3, and after king d5, just rook c8. Now bishop is attacked, d3 is losing move because white can just take and rook d8 and then take on d3. So rook e2 only move, but king f1. And bishop is under check and black cannot do anything. Yes. Yes, d3 is possible, but certainly not enough. So takes, check. Black cannot go king e5, so king c5 is only move. White can a2 to b7, and it should be winning for white because the king is so far from the pawns. Very, very end. So certainly both players. Yes, rook c6, great. So bishop d5 played Keres, rook h6. If rook c5, I think king d6 idea, and then bishop c4 is coming if rook takes b5. So Fischer played rook h6. Yes, rook c6 is beautiful move. I agree. Yes. Now he is ready for check from h5. Or take on h7. After bishop c4, I think rook takes h7 was prepared. So rook c7 now is more easy for white because rook is not on e line. So. But black wants to play rook c1, bishop c4, and rook f1 mates. So still not so clear. Bobby repeated moves. And now he played rook f5. rook c1, bishop d3, rook d1, king e2, he repeated move again, he doesn't want to take on b5 because rook d2 check and rook takes b2, so okay, I have feelings that probably white could win more easily. Is it true or not? H5 played Fischer. If b3, black has idea rook c1 and then... Okay, it's possible to consider b3. b3 looks like quite normal move to control c4 square. After rook c1, white has this idea. Play check. And if king d6, bishop e4 is strong. This rook endgame, I think white should win. So black should take, if not take, no contraplay, but here d3 is impossible because rook d5 check always. If rook c2, king f3 is coming, so it looks like very close to win. So b3 was a very interesting option. Rook h5, not king king e6, white can even take here with threat bishop g8. So king d6 only move, but bishop e4 strong move. Not bishop h7 because rook a1, black has some contraplay. But bishop e4, so black should take, and at the moment white is pawn up and looks like totally winning. Because black has so many weaknesses. So b3 was very technical move. Fischer didn't play this. Good move. But Fischer repeated move. Again b3 was possible. Or also in this moment b3 was totally possible. Same idea. But okay, Fischer played rook f5. It's less convincing, at least for me. Rook c1, bishop d3, rook d1, rook g1, rook g5. So now again black pieces are active, so probably they have some chances, but unfortunately for them all pawns are weak. But well, black can try something like h6 to play rook g6, king c5. Why not? It's still not clear for me that white is winning, so b3 was much more technical. Yes, so h6 here Keres could play. It was logical decision. And then king c5 somehow. And, not so easy, at least to win for white. But Keres took the pawn, Fischer took on b5. Now white pieces are better coordinated than before because pawn b5 was very important for black. With pawn on b5, black had idea to play bishop c4. So rook b1, king d3. Fortunately, after rook d1, white can play king e4. Bishop b1, king takes f4. So h6 played Keres, rook h5. Rook takes b2, king takes d4. Rook takes h6, king e4. Yes, rook g5. It looks like white should win here because black will lost f4 pawn and this endgame will be losing. But firstly, I need to do something with his bishop. Frankly speaking, I don't understand why not bishop d3 simply. I want to take on f4 and also. So sometimes black has idea rook g6, bishop b1, but I think this endgame is losing or not. Of course, after rook g6, white can play rook h7. It's more technical and then takes on f4. It's possible, but what about this endgame? Is it draw or white win? I don't think that this is draw. It's white win because black will not able to reach h8 square. For example, bishop b1, I can play just bishop c4. Okay, so rook g5. But okay, bishop d3 was very clear win because rook takes, king takes f4 is coming. Rook d5 not possible because after rook a6, bishop is suddenly trapped. Bishop b3 only move and rook a3. Goodbye bishop. So bishop d3 was very easy, but he played this. And now again, same idea. Keres played this. But Fischer doesn't want to exchange, so I think this is winning. At least I don't see how black can make draw here. Of course, it's but now bishop f7 and king will go to h8. Okay, this, let's see. Of course, much more easy to check with Nalimov databases, but even without Nalimov, I feel that white should win here. Yes, bishop d3 simply, and then f4 is coming. f4, f5, f6, black cannot prevent. For example, I will illustrate this f5, this f6, this bishop g6. How white will win this? This. Bishop takes f7, h7. Okay, if king h8, again white has bishop f7. Ah, but how to win this? Bishop b1. It will. Uh, but how to win this? Simple, but how? But how to win? Okay, king f8, it's move, but bishop c2. What is plan to win? Okay, I cannot believe that this is draw, but how to win? h7 now. h7 is possible, but black has no obligation to take. Ah, this, yes. This, yes. And then bishop e6 is cut. Yes. Yes, so endgame is winning anyway. But Fischer didn't take, so. Ah, but now a different story because black king has f6 square with king on f6. But anyway, white will go bishop b7, bishop e4, h4. But okay, now I'm not so clear, so sure that this is winning. Black can try this. Bishop. Okay, maybe also winning, but must be careful. So Fischer practically played rook h7. Aha. And now he took because he understands that king cannot go to f6. So perfect battle. Yes, he won. f6. Yes, now king will go to e7 and game will be finished. Okay, so I had idea to do more games today, but it's not realistic because it's 12 o'clock already. So next time, yeah, very great fight. Keres defended very tricky in hard positions. So okay, just one game. I analyze it today. Next games I will do next time because today I need to go to sleep somehow, to relax. Якщо хтось ще є з України, то бажаю спокійної ночі і всього найкращого. And thanks a lot for everybody. Good night.